The abandoned village. The village appeared on no map. The road to it was swallowed by bamboo 50 years ago. But last month, I found a photograph in my dead grandmother's chest. A picture of a place I'd never seen. Women in white ao dai, standing in front of a crumbling gate. My grandmother was among them. She was smiling. On the back of the photograph she had written, "The day before we left, the day before the village forgot us." I asked my mother about it. My mother turned pale. She said, "There is no village. There never was." Then she locked herself in her room. That night, I heard her whispering to someone on the other side of the wall. Someone who whispered back in a language no one has spoken for 100 years. "My name is Kwan, and I am a cartographer by trade. I make maps. I draw lines where roads should go, names where towns should be. I believed that every place could be found, measured, understood. Then I found the village that should not exist. It started with my grandmother's funeral. She was 93 when she died, a quiet woman who spoke little about her past. After the ceremony, we gathered in her small house to sort through her belongings, clothes, cooking pots, a wooden chest filled with old photographs. Most were familiar. My mother as a child, my grandfather in his fishing boat, uncles and aunts I had never met. But one photograph was different. It was old, faded. The colors had shifted to brown and gold. In the image, a group of women stood before a wooden gate carved with dragons. The gate was ancient, more ancient than anything I had ever seen in our region. Behind them, the roofs of houses rose in curved lines, their tiles dark with age. And beyond the houses, a mountain loomed, shaped like a sleeping buffalo. My grandmother stood in the center of the women. She was young, maybe 20. She wore a white ao dai, and her hair was braided with lotus flowers. She was smiling. But the other women were not smiling. Their faces were blank. Their eyes looked slightly to the left of the camera, as if they were watching something just outside the frame. I turned the photograph over, in my grandmother's shaky handwriting, the day before we left, the day before the village forgot us. No location, no date, just those words. I showed the photograph to my mother that evening. She was sitting at the kitchen table, peeling oranges. When she saw the image, her hands went still. The knife hovered above the fruit. "Where did you find this?" she asked. Her voice was flat. "In grandmother's chest." She stared at the photograph for a long time. Then she pushed it back across the table. "There is no village," she said. "There never was. But grandmother is in the picture. And these women, they look real." My mother stood up. She walked to the window and looked out at the darkening sky. "Your grandmother was born in this house," she said. "In this village. The same village we live in now. She never lived anywhere else." "Then why does this photograph show a different place?" My mother did not answer. She walked to her bedroom and closed the door. I heard the lock click. That night, I could not sleep. I lay in my grandmother's old bed, the photograph on the pillow beside me. The house was quiet. The insects were quiet. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Then I heard my mother's voice. She was whispering, not praying, speaking to someone. I pressed my ear to the wall that separated our rooms. "Please, not him. Take me instead. I am the last one. I am the one who remembers." A pause, then another voice, thin, dry, like leaves scraping across stone. It spoke words I did not understand, syllables that twisted in my ears, that felt wrong, like chewing on glass. My mother began to cry. I knocked on her door. "Mother, are you okay?" The whispering stopped. The door opened. My mother stood there, her face wet, her eyes empty. She looked at me, through me really, and said, "Do not look for the village, Kwan. Do not ask about the photograph. Do not speak of it again." Then she closed the door. I did not listen. I spent the next week researching. I searched online. I visited the local library. I spoke to the oldest residents of our village, the ones whose memories reached back to before the war. No one had heard of a village with a dragon gate and a buffalo-shaped mountain. No one recognized the women in the photograph. But one old man, Mr. Ha, who was 97 and blind, told me something strange. He touched the photograph with his gnarled fingers. He traced the outline of the gate, the curve of the mountain. "I know this place," he whispered. "I have never seen it, but I know it." "How?" "Because my mother spoke of it. She said there was a village that vanished, not destroyed, not abandoned, forgotten. As if the world decided one day that it had never existed. The people did not die. They simply became not real. What happened to them?" Mr. Ha handed the photograph back to me. His blind eyes seemed to look past my shoulder, at something behind me. "They stayed," he said. "They are still there, waiting for someone to remember them. And when someone remembers, truly remembers, with their whole heart, the village pulls that person inside the photograph." He leaned closer. His breath smelled of betel nut. "Your grandmother escaped. She was the only one. But she left something behind. Something the village wants back." "What?" "A name," he said. "The name of the village. She took it with her when she left. And without its name, the village cannot exist. It cannot be found. It cannot feed." "Feed on what?" Mr. Ha smiled. It was not a kind smile. "On memory, of course. What else do ghosts eat?" I should have stopped. But the photograph called to me. I began to dream of the village, the dragon gate, the curved roofs, the buffalo mountain. In my dreams, I walked through empty streets. The houses were intact. The altars still held incense. The rice pots still sat on coal stoves. And everywhere, on every wall, every door, every piece of furniture, my grandmother's face, young, smiling, watching. I woke each morning with dirt on my feet, mud from a place I had never been. On the 8th night, I decided to find the village. I packed a bag. I told my mother I was going on a work trip. She looked at me with knowing eyes, but she did not stop me. "Take this," she said. She handed me a small jade pendant, my grandmother's pendant, the one she had worn in the photograph. It has her name on it, her real name, the name the village knows. I took the pendant. It was warm. "What is her name?" I asked. My mother touched my cheek. "If I tell you," she said, "you will become real to the village. And once you are real to it, you can never leave." "Then how do I find it without knowing her name?" My mother smiled. It was the saddest smile I have ever seen. "You don't," she said. "The village will find you." She was right. I drove north toward the mountains. The photograph sat on the passenger seat. As I drove, the landscape changed. Rice paddies gave way to jungle. Jungle gave way to bamboo so thick that the road became a tunnel of green. The sun set. The headlights cut through the fog. And then the road ended. Not gradually. Not with a sign or a barrier. The pavement simply stopped, as if someone had erased it. Beyond the asphalt, a dirt path curved into the bamboo. I got out of the car. The air was cold and wet. The fog was so thick that I could barely see 10 feet ahead. I walked. The path wound through the bamboo for what felt like hours. The fog muffled all sound. No insects, no birds, just my footsteps and the soft rustle of leaves. Then the bamboo parted, and I saw the gate. the dragon gate from the photograph, carved from wood so dark it looked black. The dragons were twisted together, their mouths open, their teeth bared. Beyond the gate, the roofs of houses rose in curved lines, their tiles glinting in the moonlight. The village was real. I stepped through the gate. The streets were empty, but they were not abandoned. The houses were well kept. The wooden walls were polished. The altars inside glowed with candlelight, candles that burned without flame, casting a soft golden light that did not flicker. I walked past house after house. Each one had a nameplate by the door. The names were unfamiliar: Nguyen Tibik, Tran Van Hung, Le Tilan. But each nameplate also had a small photograph of the person who lived there. The photographs were old, faded, and every single face was the same. My grandmother, young, smiling, wearing a white ao dai. I began to run. The streets twisted and turned. The houses repeated. The same altars, the same candles, the same face. I stopped in front of the largest house, a 2-story building at the center of the village, its doors carved with lotus flowers. The nameplate read Tran Ti Huong, my grandmother's name. I pushed open the door. Inside, the house was warm. A fire burned in the hearth. Rice steamed in a pot. A woman sat at the table, her back to me. She wore a white ao dai. Her hair was braided with lotus flowers. "Grandmother," I whispered. The woman turned. It was my grandmother. Not the old woman I had buried. The young woman from the photograph. Her skin was smooth. Her eyes were bright. She looked at me with recognition and with sorrow. "Kwan," she said, "you should not have come. I came to find you, to understand." She stood up. She walked toward me. Her feet made no sound on the wooden floor. "There is nothing to understand," she said. "This village was forgotten. I escaped by taking its name. I hid the name inside my pendant, but the village has been calling to me ever since. Calling to all of us, my daughters, my granddaughters, anyone who carries my blood." "Calling for what?" She touched my face. Her fingers were cold. "To come home," she said. "The village is not a place, Kwan. It is a memory so strong that it became real. But memories need someone to remember them. Without a rememberer, they fade, they starve. So the village feeds on memories. It feeds on rememberers, on people who hold the past in their hearts. Your mother has been feeding it for years, whispering to it through the wall, giving it pieces of herself. That is why she looks so tired. That is why she never smiles." I thought of my mother, the locked door, the whispering, the empty eyes. "And now?" I asked. My grandmother's face twisted. "Now the village wants more. It wants the final rememberer, the one who holds the original name." "What name?" "My name," she said. "My real name. The name I was given at birth. The name I left behind when I escaped." She reached for the jade pendant around my neck. "You brought it back," she whispered. "The name is inside this stone, and the village can feel it." The candles flared. The house trembled. The walls began to whisper, hundreds of voices, all speaking in that ancient, twisting language. My grandmother's face changed. The sorrow vanished. Something else emerged, something hungry. "Give it to me," she said. Her voice was no longer hers. It was the voice of the village itself, dry, scraping, eager. "Give me my name, and I will let you leave." I stepped back. "You are not my grandmother." The thing wearing her face smiled. "No," it said. "I am the village. I am every person who ever lived here, every memory that was forgotten. I am the hunger that feeds on forgetting. And your grandmother, she was my favorite. She was the only one strong enough to leave, but she left a hole in me, a hole shaped like her name. It reached for me. "Fill the hole, Kwan. Give me the name, and I will let you go." I clutched the pendant. The jade was burning hot. What happens if I don't? The thing tilted its head. Behind it, the walls of the house began to dissolve, not falling apart, but fading, becoming transparent, revealing the village beyond. And beyond the village, the bamboo. And beyond the bamboo, nothing. "If you do not give me the name," it said, "you will stay here. You will become part of me. You will sit at this table. You will tend this fire. You will wait. And one day, someone who remembers you will come, and you will ask them for their name, and the hunger will continue." "No," I said. I raised the pendant. I closed my eyes, and I spoke my grandmother's name, the name she had hidden, the name I had never known. But I did not speak it to the village. I spoke it to myself. "Tran Thi Huang," I whispered. "You were born in this village. You left it. You lived a long life. You died in your bed, surrounded by your children. And you are gone. You are not here. This place is not real." The pendant cracked. The village screamed. The houses flickered. The candles went out. The face of my grandmother, the young face, the hungry face, melted like wax, dripping down, revealing something dark beneath, something formless, something made of shadow and smoke and the weight of 1,000 forgotten lives. But I did not run. I stood my ground. I held the broken pendant, and I kept speaking. "I remember you, grandmother. I remember the way you laughed, the way you smelled of incense and oranges, the way you held my hand when I was small. That memory is mine, and I will not give it to you." The darkness roared. Then it collapsed, not into nothing, into the ground, into the earth beneath the village. The houses crumbled. The dragon gate splintered. The bamboo forest withered. And I was standing alone in a field of mud, in the middle of the night, with nothing around me but fog and silence. The village was gone, not forgotten, not hidden, gone. I walked back to my car. The road had returned. The sun rose as I drove home. My mother was waiting at the door. She looked at me. She looked at the broken pendant in my hand. She did not ask questions. She simply opened her arms, and I fell into them. And we stood there for a long time. I never spoke of the village again. But sometimes, late at night, when the fog rolls in from the mountains, I hear whispers at my window. Not the dry, scraping voice of the village. The voice of my grandmother, young, sad, free. "Thank you," she says, "for remembering me, for letting me go." And then the fog lifts, and I am alone. But I am not hungry. I am not forgotten. I am real.